Okay, so here is Finn meeting Twiggy for the first time. Twiggy is an 8-year-old greyhound, and she's usually my best communicator with dogs. She's doing a lot more avoidance here than she would typically tolerate. There she is giving a good shake off, kind of trying to release some of that energy, kind of trying to relax the situation and calm everyone down. Not necessarily working out. He's still pretty keyed in on her. She's doing some sniffing, a couple of other behaviors, and then she goes in to give him a correction. He backed off for a slight second, and he has changed in which way he's being pushy. Right here, I go ahead and call him back because she's pooping, and he looked like he was gonna go get underneath her and get pooped on. But he's not being relentless. He is being pushy and rude. Again, Twiggy's a little bit quicker to correct, and after she's done going to the bathroom, she doesn't really give corrections, and she can be weird with storms. So at this point, it was cloudy, and I was wondering if rain might be coming in, and that's kind of why she was a little off. So after this part, I went ahead and put her up just to give her a break, and I take her back out a little later, and she does a lot better of a job. So there was that. So here's just kind of practicing and reinforcing that weight behavior you have him do before leaving the X pin, or we also practice with doors. And he did really well. This time he kind of popped up a bit more than usual because I have my dog Coach on the other side, and he was a little bit excited to get through. I got his head stuck real quick. I'm just going to pop that out. Every time he gets up, I don't really ask him for anything else. I just go ahead and close the gate and kind of let him figure it out. You know, how can I get through the door? What works? And I'm trying to let him work through that kind of problem-solving process himself. So here I'm trying to do a little toy play with him outside, work on some trading toys and some drop-its, just to see where we're at with that. But he was very distracted by the dogs inside, and I try to keep him engaged with me, and we kind of worked on playing while ignoring the dogs inside, but it was pretty tough for him. He still liked the toys and was interested, but every time he would hear a sound, he'd go back in. This doesn't look like a whole bunch of work, but getting used to there being other dogs on other sides of the gates and him not having to be interacting is going to be really good practice. So this is just a little clip of kind of that practice we do where we can be on one side of the gate and play and chew on toys or do things, and the other dogs on the other side don't really have to hold a lot of value for us. But he did really well. Okay, so here we are. I'm seeing kind of where we're at. So I'm doing a little bit of marker word boot up. I'm just using a marker word and following it with a treat. So he makes that connection that when I say that word, that means he will be getting a treat. And he did the correct thing. We also, in a few seconds here, I go ahead and play a little bit of his name game to see where his name recognition is. And it's beautiful. It's spot on. He pops his head at me every time I call his name. So he really understands his name, which is great groundwork for a recall in a few weeks. But he did really well. He stayed very attentive towards me. He was definitely willing to and excited to work for the cheese we had. I did start with kibble initially, but he wasn't really taking it, and he was just kind of interested in everything else around the house. So since we had quite a bit of distraction for him, and it's a new environment, I did bring out the big guns, and we used a little bit of cheese. I used about half of a stick of cheese, so not to upset his tummy. So I think after this, I go back to his little kibble, and he did fine for it after he kind of got in the working mode, but he does great. Okay, so here we're working on a few downs. I know that you were having a hard time with him maintaining his down, so I was going to work a little bit on that. But first, in this first session here, I'm kind of seeing where he's at. Do we know, can we capture a down where we just wait for him to do it and then mark and treat? Does he have a hand signal? Have we added the word yet? And I'm just kind of feeling him out. A lot of our training today was us just kind of figuring out how each other works, and I was kind of trying to get a feel where he was at. in how many cues he does know, and also kind of mentally how much is too much to ask from him. I have the dogs around. Can he work that way? I was just gathering a lot of information. So here I'm just waiting to see if he'll go into a down on his own, and then I can mark and treat. And he doesn't, so I go ahead and point, and he does a great job.
Yes, good job.
And while he is in that down, you'll notice I'm giving him more than one treat, and that's because I know one of the things that we're working on is duration in the down. So I make sure to treat a couple times so that he gets used to staying a little bit longer. We do this a few more times. Right here, I go ahead and wait for a down a little too long. So he looks like he was going to do it to me right there, but then he pops up and he's whining, so he's frustrated. So that was my bad. I waited him out far too long, and instead of being successful, he got more frustrated with the situation. So now I know next time when I ask him to go into a down that I don't wait so long, and I kind of set him up for a little bit of a quicker success, and I don't push that frustration. So I went ahead and asked for a down pretty quickly. There we go. And I gave him a bunch of treats for that one to keep the session fun and moving. And again, it's just more information for me to have on how he works. But he's super, super fun. And I loved how he just licks the cheese out of my hands. Instead of taking it, he'll just sit and lick and nibble on it. And he's very smart. And he's a super sweet boy. Okay, so this is a quick little video, just kind of showing how he is comfortable and relaxed in the house. And I have this dog out over here, and I have my other dog in a crate. And he's becoming really used to them just being around. He's not trying to jump on the gate to get Coach out. He's not messing with Tweety in her bed. And he's just kind of existing, which is lovely to see. Okay, here he is kind of being a pest to Twiggy again. She's tolerating a lot more than usual still. There's another shake off. But the reason I kept this video in, and I accidentally cut it out when I was taking the video, because she does give him a correction right before she walks into the kitchen. And so she gave him a correction. They walk into the kitchen, and he's still following her, sniffing.
Good job,
but here
kid.
he makes the choice to walk off on his own. So I wanted to praise him big time for that. That was a really great choice, and he's going to start realizing kind of how the dogs are communicating. So I think he's learning quick, and he's doing a good job. Okay, so here we're working on down some more. And here I see more what you were talking about with not holding those downs. So I asked for a down. He goes into it, and then he pops right up. So since I said the marker word yes, he went ahead and got a treat, but I'm waiting for him to go back into a down to give him more treats. He won't do it on his own, so I go ahead and use my finger again to point where I want him. Once he's down there, I treat him a lot quicker. It's hard to see off the camera, but I treat him a lot quicker, and I treat him down on the ground a little further out from his feet. That way his position is being held on the ground by those treats. So I'm treating him very quickly and a lot more. I was too slow on that one, so we're going to try again. So anytime we're doing these pop-ups, I just know to speed up the treating and where is my treat located when I'm treating him. If it's too close into his body, they will try to sit up to eat it. So I kind of like to have it a little further out. So here we go down. And I'm letting him nibble on it. And I got another one ready. So I'm doing a lot more rapid treating. I slow it down a little bit here because he's doing good. He's doing good. And we give extra treats, and then when I'm all done, I go ahead and release him. All done, and then I toss out a treat. Then we kind of start over. And those 2 times that he popped up was the only kind of times that we had a problem with duration. So I think keep up the good work, and then if he ever gets antsy and kind of pops up, just faster treats. Where are we treating? Things like that.
Oh, good job, baby. All done. You did good. All done. You did good. Who's the goodest boy? Who's the goodest boy? Finn is.
Okay, so here we're working on some X-Pen stuff. He had a lot harder time being left in the X-Pen in the afternoon than he did when in the morning when he first went up for a nap. So I decided to kind of take a minute and work on it. So I brought him 3 chews, a bully stick, a peanut butter bone, and a topple full of food. And I got him really interested in the bully stick while I sat in there. And then once he was already working on it, I went ahead and popped out. I'm not far. I'm still I'm by my kitchen, kind of cleaning things up. And I'm just standing in one place, kind of letting him work it out. He goes ahead and picks up the bully stick again and starts working on that instead of continue whining. So that's excellent. It's exactly what we want to see. So then I kind of just pop back in here. And I'm not really paying too much attention to him, but I'm here for a little bit of emotional support. And I did that a few times, each time leaving a little longer than I did last time. Um, the way he's whining and barking isn't too alarming to me. He doesn't seem to be really upset or clamoring to get out. He just seems to be kind of pitching a fit. So those little bursts of me in and out can help him settle and kind of get used to it. But in the moment that I do have to ignore him and might have to get something done or leave the house, he's at a pretty good state where I wouldn't be concerned. Okay, so here he is meeting my 10-month-old Brittany puppy, Boom. So I put this in here to kind of give you an example of what appropriate, not appropriate puppy play is. So when he was doing all this nonsense to the older dogs, they didn't like it. They weren't having it. They avoided him. They corrected him. They shook it off. They gave me lots of signs that they didn't like it. Boom's all here for it. He's just as rude sometimes as this little guy. Here, Penny got a little possessive over this toy, so we just went ahead and removed it, and everyone's fine. He did pretty good with Penny. He's like, she doesn't want to play, but this guy does. So they're just being kind of rude and rough. So this isn't bad play. This is fine. It's just not going to be helpful to teach our puppies how to communicate. So that's why he has less time with Boom, just because I want him to be learning what is the appropriate way to interact with a dog, and Boom is not necessarily the guy that's going to teach him that. It's still good information. You know, any dog our dogs interact with is going to teach them something in a sense. So as long as they're safe, they're learning something. It's just what are they learning? How much of it do they need to know? And things like that. Okay, so here's him in the car on my way to get my little girl. You can hear he's not super happy to be in there. He's not trying to escape from the crate or tear it open, so I think we're okay. It's a short car ride. It's about 10 minutes to my daughter's school and there and back. So I think this is a great place to start to get him used to doing short car rides. Make sure he has really great things in his car crate and keep up making it a